do the Niners miss Adam Peters? Let's look at what Adam Peters did in just the draft. You won't even look at what he did in free agency, but let's compare what the Niners did, that's what we've been talking about today, to what Adam Peters did in the draft, and I'll get their draft on the screen here. Okay,
oh, look
at the
that.
top. You like that? You like that? Okay, here we go. So they took a quarterback first. The Niners weren't picking that high, but then they had their next pick was at 36. The Niners were at 31. The Niners took a wide receiver they didn't need. The Commanders took a defensive tackle who was supposed to go in round 1 and just dropped. So did they need a defensive tackle? No, not particularly. They have a couple starters, but they got the best player available at a premium position. His name is, they call him Johnny Newton, 36. So that's what he did. He went defensive line. Then at 50, he took a corner, Mike Saintstra from Michigan. Then he took a tight end. Niners didn't take a tight end. They got no tight ends. Then he took a guard at 67, about 20 picks before the Niners got their guard. And then with the final pick in round 3, they took a wide receiver, Luke McCaffrey, Christian's brother, Ed's son. So they got a wide receiver too, but they waited until the end of round 3. And who's to say, Dad, who's to say which wide receiver will be better, McCaffrey or Pearsall?
It seems like, look, first of all, Washington had a lot more needs than the 49ers, but it seemed that he really had a plan, and he was very aggressive in what he did. And it makes you wonder, was he the brains behind the Niners drafts? Now, and there's a lot of bad things about it. There's Trey Lance and, right? I mean, there's other ones. That Foster guy.
Maybe he was the brains behind those picks.
Yeah. So it's not either or, but he seems to have, I don't think he went to the meeting and said, we didn't get worse. I think he said we got a hell of a lot better. That's what I think. And it makes me think that he may have been the engine that was driving the Niners in the draft.
I just like looking at where he took a wide receiver. He took one at the end of round 3. And you can say, well, they didn't need a wide receiver. Yeah, neither did the Niners.
Right. Iggy, tell the story again after they got murdered by whom, and you're walking in the hallway and 3 people come at you and only one looks at you.
I think it was after they lost to, I want to say Cincinnati or Baltimore this year. Just murdered at home. And I was walking around doing my instant reaction where I walk in the, you know how I'm walking to the post-game press conference and I'm talking about what I saw?
You're in the hallway. You're in the hallway.
So I did one, but it was like 30 seconds in and it wasn't so good. So I walked back to do it again. And as I was walking back, I saw John Lynch and we made eye contact and he just looked away.
Was it just Lynch and Adam Peters?
Adam Peters looked at me.
He stared at you.
Did not. Yes.
What I'm getting at is Lynch couldn't look you in the eye.
No.
Peters could.
Yes.
We got our ass kicked. I'm Adam Peters. I have confidence in what I do. I can look you in the eye. That's very important.
Yes.
I thought there was a third person there who couldn't look you in the eye.
I think it was Parag.
Yeah, he's not an eye looker.
No, not an eye looker.
Remember all the times we'd walk there to the locker room and we'd cross paths with Parag, and all of a sudden he'd get on his phone and not look at me?
I don't know if people in the audience do this, but do you guys ever play like the subject object game? Like you just look at someone and see who looks away first. It could be a stranger. Who knows? Because you always have that moment with the human being where you lock eyes and it's kind of awkward. And there's an impulse to either look away or not. And sometimes it's interesting to see if you can get someone to look away first. And Parag is the guy who looks away first every time.
He does.
Yeah. Because people who don't look away first are intimidating sometimes. They just look at you and you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's my thing.
When I used to deal with athletes, I would stare at them. I would make it clear who was the subject and who was the object.
Wouldn't you do that as a teacher too?
Absolutely. The first night of class, I would, it was, let's say, University of San Francisco, where I taught many years creative writing. There would only be 8 in the class. And I would be very friendly, and I would introduce myself around the table to each one, but I would stare, "Hi, I'm Lowell Cohn," and let it be known that I'm the leader here. I'm the subject and you are the object, although I'm listening and open-minded. I don't think in my class there would have been tense and a revolt.
Nope.
I
No,
don't
it's
think so.
it's something very subconscious, but you got to be ready for it, because if I'm sitting front row, front and center at the Niners press conference and Kyle Shanahan is staring at me, I can't look away.
Right.
Can't.
And I told Iggy, you have to be front and center. I always was. And what it means is you have to deal with me. I'm not sitting in the back. I'm in the front. I'm right here with you. I'm as close as I could be. You got to deal with me and you got to answer my questions.
Yeah, press man coverage.
Yeah, press man coverage.
Also, if you have a problem with me, I'm not ducking you. I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm right here. Say what you have to say.
So that's it. Adam Peters.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Peterson.
Wait a minute, Peterson. Have you ever talked to Adam Peters?
Not much. A little bit. By the end, he would do the pre-draft press conference along with John Lynch. They would do it together. And he seemed very well educated, smart. You know where he went to college? UCLA.
Oh, really?
UCLA. He played for them. He was like a defensive lineman.
Iggy, you're proud when people go to UCLA, right? The famous
it's a good
people.
School. Because here's the thing about UCLA. It's like impossible to get into. The acceptance rate is ridiculously low. And then when you get in, they treat you like you're nothing special, and you have to work really hard just to get B's and A's. I mean, A's are really impossible, but to get B, because what I heard from Stanford is once you get in there, which is hard too, that they really treat you like you're special and everyone gets A's. I don't know if that's true though.
They really support you at Stanford. They do.
You didn't get support at UCLA, no support. And that's why I'm so tough these days. And people get scared when they see me because they're like, oh, that's the UCLA education. Yep.
At Stanford, they're very kind to you. And believe me, I needed it. There were a lot smarter people around there than I was. I needed it.
It was funny because at UCLA, we're all high achievers, kids that got 4.5s in high school. And then you go to UCLA and then get your first report card, and half the kids in the class or 2/3 of the kids in the class got B's or below. And everyone's like, what? This doesn't happen to me. And the teacher's like, yeah, this is UCLA. You're all A students. It's not everyone's going to get A's here. So then you start seeing, like, by my sophomore year, I figured it out. Okay, I got to go to office hours. I got to introduce myself. I got to run my thesis by them. I got to get buy-in from them. There's all kind of stuff you got to do to get A's. It's hard. Well, or just take a math class and just be good at math. You could do that. I wasn't good at that. I was writing essays. That's hard. So that's my point.